Ever since they found out I'm the fake young master, all my classmates were super excited. It's not that they wanted to mock me. They finally got to see what a poor person looks like. And finally, there's someone to take the poverty subsidy quota. My adoptive parents are nothing like the snarky, cruel characters in novels, who kick you out of the house right away. When the real young master threw sneers and sarcasm at me, no one paid him any attention. They all asked what I planned to do instead. Now that your biological son is back, of course I'm going to find my own birth parents. I took a sip of hot tea. Mu Yao Wei thought I was raised well. I always handle things quickly and cleanly. Too bad we're not blood-related. No matter how polite and proper I am, I'm not as good as their biological son. Of course, Mu Yao Wei wouldn't stop me from leaving. The Mu family will give you 3 million yuan. You're on your own after that. The kindness of you raising me, I will always keep that in mind. Mu Yao Wei responded with a quiet hum. Pack your things, old Liu will drive you there. I put down my teacup, stood up and headed upstairs. When I got to the stair corner, I heard Mu Shen's voice from behind. Your biological family is really poor. You won't have space for too much luggage there. All those luxury goods are useless there too. Don't make a bad first impression. I glanced at Aunt Sun, who stood beside him. Throw away everything I don't take with me. Hearing that, Mu Shen froze on the spot. You're throwing away all the stuff you don't want. Those are all limited edition luxury brands. Every single one is worth a fortune. How is that any different from burning money? I found his words absolutely ridiculous. Walked straight upstairs and grabbed a small backpack. I only put my ID documents and phone in it. I didn't take anything else at all, and left the Mu family without any hesitation. The car dropped me off at an old residential community. I looked up at the house number, knocked on the iron door after confirming it was correct. Looking at her weathered face and eyes, I immediately knew this was my biological mother. I put on a soft smile. I think I'm your biological son. Mother Ye froze right away when she heard that. We stared at each other across the iron door. I asked politely, Can I come in and talk first? Mother Ye suddenly snapped back to her senses, hurriedly opened the door and invited me in. She poured me a glass of warm water. She looked a little awkward and nervous. I took it and had a sip, and briefly explained how we got swapped at birth. Mu Shen is the Mu family's real son, and I'm your son. Father and Mother Ye had guessed this might be possible before, but looking at their elegant, well-raised biological son right in front of them, they couldn't help feeling flustered and uneasy. I already looked up all the information about the Ye family, so I have a general idea of all the family members. Do you have any questions for me? This didn't look like a family reunion at all. It felt more like a business negotiation. Mother Ye asked nervously what I wanted to eat. I had a gentle smile on my face. There's nothing I'm particularly craving. Mother Ye stood up and glanced at Father Ye. I'll go to the market then. You call Zixi and the others. Tell them to come home right away. I heard the iron door outside clang. I stood up and walked out of the room, and met my biological sisters. There was a warm softness in my smile. I'm Mu Chen. Hearing that deep, pleasant male voice, Yeshui's heart skipped a beat. She looked up at me in disbelief. You don't mind that our house is so shabby? Yeshui felt a little more at ease. Dad already told me what happened. This is our little sister Jiayi. Mother Ye came back from buying groceries and went into the kitchen, like she was avoiding talking to me. Father Ye and I sat on the small sofa. The other three sat cross-legged on the floor. The space felt really crowded. Father Ye sighed heavily. You've seen what our family's situation is like. We're crammed in this house that's less than 60 square meters. I'll rent an apartment for you outside, and I'll give you living expenses every month. I looked at Father Ye with a calm expression. Are you not welcoming me to live at home? Father Ye hurriedly explained. Of course not. We're just worried you won't get used to it. After getting permission to stay at home, I looked pretty happy. If you don't mind, I'll live here from now on. Yeshua suggested getting a big bed for me. I can just sleep on the sofa in the guest room. I even plan to rearrange the house layout later. When Yejai heard there would be a new desk, she jumped up and down happily on the spot. Mother Ye came out of the kitchen carrying dishes.
Dinner's ready.
There was delicious fish soup on the table, as well as really large boiled shrimp. Yejai's eyes were sparkling with excitement. These were her favorite dishes. She only got to eat them on festivals and holidays. I was used to feasting on all kinds of fancy delicacies. I didn't have much reaction to this spread of food, but I could feel how much thought the Yi family put into it. The awkward atmosphere faded away right after. I brought nothing but money with me when I came. I planned to go nearby and pick up 2 sets of clothes. Yejaya volunteered to show me the way, so I took the little sister's hand and headed out. I used to shop for clothes in VIP lounges only. Picking out clothes myself now is a new experience for me. I picked 3 or 4 sets of casual wear. I also bought a pair of sneakers on the side. On the way home, holding the little sister's hand, we passed a street stall selling tanghulu. I saw her staring quietly at the glass display case, but then she looked away like a sensible kid, so I bought her a strawberry tanghulu. Holding the tanghulu in her hand, Yejai's face was full of joy. She held it up to me with a big grin. "Brother, you have a bite too." I froze for a split second. I ruffled the little sister's hair. "I don't like sweet stuff." Yejai counted the strawberries on the bamboo stick. "Me, eldest sister, second sister, mom and dad. We can each have exactly 1. I responded with an amused laugh. I held the little sister's hand and walked back to the community. I saw Yezixi rummaging around from afar. She picked up a doll from a tattered cardboard box. She heard the sound of my footsteps. Yezixi panicked and hid the doll behind her back, watching me walk towards her step by step. My expression was completely flat. "You don't have to hide it, I saw everything." Yezixi lowered her eyes, like a kid who did something wrong. Slowly took the doll out again. Mokswan used to love this doll so much. He had to hold it to sleep every night. I didn't expect he would even throw this away. "There's way more stuff he abandoned than this." I said that casually with no emotion in my tone. It stabbed Yezixi right in the heart. "You only wake up when you feel the pain." I sighed silently in my heart. "You can take it back if you want." She threw the doll back into the cardboard box. She forced a bitter smile at me. The small fan creaked as it spun in the summer night. The old windows had terrible sound insulation. Noises from the neighbor's place came through from outside. I woke up in the middle of the night and heard sounds outside. It was Ye Shui whispering with her parents. "Muchin probably can't get used to this bed. I heard him tossing and turning last night. Let's buy him a good mattress. My scholarship will be issued next week. I'll pay you back the money then." The 3 of them spoke in very soft voices, but I heard every single word clearly. After I changed my clothes, I walked outside. Yeshua and Father Ye had already left the house. Where did Dad and eldest sister go? Mother Ye poured me a cup of warm water and handed it to me. "Your eldest sister went back to college early. Your dad is out driving for ride-hailing services. He dropped your eldest sister off at the train station on the way. Morning train tickets are cheaper." Yeshua obviously did this to save money. She's someone who pinches pennies as much as possible. Yet she was worried I wouldn't sleep comfortably and decided to spend money to buy me a soft mattress. I felt a weird feeling in my heart. Yezixi went to her part-time job early in the morning. Yejaya went to play with the kids in the community. Mother Ye went to the manual workshop to do piecework. I was the only one left at home. I stood up and pulled open the door. Sumanyu burst in with all his tools. "Young master, I didn't even eat breakfast." I showed him around the whole house and told him what I wanted for the renovation. Sumanyu's face scrunched up altogether. He looked super embarrassed. "Even your old mattress cost more than 20,000 yuan. And now you want me to do the whole house for 20,000. I leaned against the doorframe with my arms crossed. "Why would I bother you if it was an easy job?" After he measured all the dimensions of the house, he had a rough layout planned in his head. We went back to the living room and sat down. Sumanyu closed his tablet. "Are you really sure you want to stay here?" Got sick of eating all those fancy delicacies. I smiled meaningfully. "Do you know why the Ye family went bankrupt back then?" I heard a little bit of gossip about it. They said when Yeshua was working part-time, she offended the boyfriend of the third miss of the Mu family, so the third miss destroyed the Yi family's business. On the surface, that's exactly what happened. But I know the real story better than anyone. Yeshua wasn't the one who caused the bankruptcy. Suddenly, there were sounds coming from outside the door. I saw Father Ye walk in a hurry. "Aren't you out taking ride-hailing orders?" I forgot to take my phone charging cable. His gaze fell on the person next to me. Father Ye thought the guy in front of him looked familiar, so I took the chance to introduce him. "This is my friend Sumanyu." I invited him over to look at the house layout. Father Ye was completely stunned. He had heard of Sumanyu's reputation before. He's a famous genius designer in the country. He's won so many awards at such a young age. Tons of people pay big money to ask him for designs. But Sumanyu doesn't even give them the time of day. "All right, I won't disturb your work. I'll just grab a charging cable and leave." Father Ye was terrified of disturbing Sumanyu's work, so he grabbed the cable and hurried out right away. The 2 of them didn't chat about anything else after that. Sumanyu rushed back to work on his design drafts. I packed up my ID and all relevant documents, and stopped by the handcraft workshop on my way. 7 or 8 women were busy working inside, sticking labels while gossiping about daily stuff. I stood at the door and yelled inside, "Mom, I'm heading out to run errands. I won't be home for lunch." Mother Ye smiled gently and warmly. "Remember to come home early tonight." I walked through the crowded intersection near the wet market. A black McLaren was parked by the roadside. I pulled open the back door directly and sat down. The girl next to me had a soft, gentle look, ever since she spotted me from far away. Her eyes haven't left me at all. "Wow, you're so cruel, young master. You only told me about such a big thing now." I curled the corner of my mouth slightly. "Weren't you abroad before?" "What good would it have done to tell you earlier?" Liu Ruyan let out a meaningful "oh." "Oh, so you're mad I didn't stay with you. You're throwing a little tantrum at me right now, huh?" I was so amused I didn't know whether to laugh or roll my eyes. "Where did you learn those overbearing CEO lines? You haven't contacted me for so long, young master. I had to make up excuses for you myself." She poked my palm with her fingertip. "Stop messing around with me here. Are you getting used to living with the Yi family?" "Of course I'm not really used to it yet. I barely slept well last night." I leaned against Liu Ruyan's shoulder. Listening to her soft, low voice, I instantly relaxed completely. My voice got softer and softer as I spoke. "I already had Sumanyu come check the layout. Renovations can start tomorrow. As fast as always, I see. If you can't sleep well, you can stay at my place tonight." She didn't hear me reply, so she tilted her head down slightly to glance at me and found that I was already fast asleep. She curled her lips helplessly and told the driver to turn up the air conditioning. The car smelled like citrus inside. That scent always makes me feel relaxed whenever I smell it. I slept on Liu Ruyan's shoulder for 2 hours. The car had been parked outside the service hall for ages. Liu Ruyan held my hand gently, waiting patiently for me to wake up fully before she walked into the service hall with me. The household registration transfer went super fast. Liu Ruyan handled all the procedures for me. After all the procedures were done successfully, my household registration was moved to the Yi family, officially added to Father Ye's household register. When I was cutting steak at a fancy restaurant, my phone pinged with a text message. The Mu family transferred 3 million yuan to my bank card. 3 million, and they think that'll buy your silence. Liu Ruyan kept cutting her steak with her head down, a cold sneer in her voice, making her tone hard to read. I never wanted their money anyway. If I take this hush money, the Mu family doesn't have to worry about me spreading rumors, and I don't have to watch out for them picking fights with me. It works out well for everyone. Liu Ruyan drove me back. The car parked at the wet market intersection again, same as before. Liu Ruyan ruffled my hair. Her eyes were so full of tenderness it was almost suffocating. She didn't leave until I turned and walked into the wet market. Then Liu Ruyan told the driver to drive off. When I got back to the old residential complex, Ye Zixi was also just getting home from her part-time job. I washed my hands quickly and sat down at the dining table. I've never had this kind of pickled fish before. The fish slices were super tender. The pickled cabbage was really crisp and refreshing. Sour, spicy, fresh, and fragrant. It made my appetite go through the roof. This was the fullest I've ever been in 17 years. I even drank 2 bowls of the fish soup alone. Mother Ye was beaming with joy. "I'll learn to cook other new dishes tomorrow. Today I called #1 City High School already. If you're willing to study at #1 City High School, you can take the spot that Mu Xuan left vacant." When Ye Zixi said this, she was super careful, scared she'd use the wrong words, and that mentioning Mu Xuan would upset me. When talking about transferring schools, Mother Ye lowered her eyes and bit her lips slightly. "Our family's financial situation is really not good enough to pay for you to keep studying at Shenghua. We're really sorry, kid. I really don't get the Yi family's way of thinking. They feel bad for having bad financial conditions. Feel bad for the house being too small. Feel bad for not being able to afford the fancy private school. What's there to be sorry for? You're supposed to fight for the things you want yourself. You'll never get ahead if you rely on others, even if that person is your own family. That's the lesson I learned from living with the Mu family. Thanks for handling the transfer for me, second sister. But I'm going to stay at Shenghua." Before Mom Yi could voice her worries, I already knew what was on her mind. I raised my hand slightly to stop her from speaking. "The top student of Shenghua High School gets a full tuition waiver. You don't have to feel sorry for me. I'll fight for what I need on my own, because this is my own benefit. It's not your responsibility to cover it in the first place." Hearing that, Mom Yi had her eyes turn red all of a sudden. Glittering tears welled up in her eyes. She held back hard to keep the tears from falling and forced a relieved smile. Ye Zixi calmed herself down and put on that gentle, warm smile again. Since you're able to stay at Shenghua, we'll definitely support your decision. Shenghua isn't far from #1 municipal high school. I'll pick you up after school from now on. After dinner, Yazixi went to the kitchen to wash dishes. I went back to my room to review my lessons. The next morning, after having breakfast, the whole family headed out for work and school. I called Liu Ruyan last night to ask her to lend me a driver. The car is already parked at the intersection right now. After waving goodbye to Mamiya, the three siblings walked to the intersection and got in the car. When Yazixi saw the car we were about to take, I glanced at the Toyota logo. I told Liu Ruyan to send the cheapest car she had. Who would have thought it's the latest Alphard? For Liu Ruyan, it is indeed considered cheap. But compared to the beat-up second-hand car the Ye family has, this car is way too expensive. It's almost ridiculous. Is this your friend's car? Yazixi found it super unbelievable. You still have people at your beck and call even after leaving the Mu family. Are you still the young master of the Mu family or not? I looked completely calm, not panicking at all. I just felt helpless about Liu Ruyan's arrangement. Yajiai sat obediently in the back seat by herself. Second sister, send me the address of your part-time job. Yazixi suddenly realized what was going on. The driver started the car steadily. I held my phone texting Liu Ruyan on WeChat. Did you just buy this car? It takes over an hour to get to #1 municipal high school. I was worried you'd feel uncomfortable sitting for too long. Plus, I can use it to nap in my free time anyway. I looked at the screen and didn't say anything more, even though I knew she bought it specially for me. After dropping Yazixi off at the Western restaurant, the car got back on the road smoothly, heading straight for Shenghua High School. When I got home in the evening, dinner was just ready to be served. The whole family sat around the dining table chatting. These past few days have been super surreal for the Yi family. First, Su Manyu, the world-famous designer, actually volunteered to come to our house to do renovation work. They got to know me, their son, all over again. Even after coming back to a poor home, I still remain unmoved by either praise or criticism. It's because my confidence never relies on the Mu family, but from my own strong capabilities. After dinner, I took a shower and went to bed early. Only the Ye couple were left in the living room. Mamya pressed her lips thinking for a long time, as if she had finally made up her mind. We can't always underestimate Mu Chen's connections. We're still not too old. We should give it another shot. Father Ye nodded in complete agreement. These 2 days since Mu Chen came back, I've been thinking a lot too. To make our family live a better life, we really shouldn't be content with the status quo. Money from ride-hailing is all hard-earned cash. At the end of the day, we need to run our own business. Mamya sighed, a worried look on her face. But running a business is really hard these days. Father-in-law wrapped his arm around his wife's shoulder tightly. His tone sounded extra firm and powerful. We succeeded once before. We can definitely succeed a second time. Let's look into the market first during this period. Doing proper preliminary research is more reliable. The next morning, father-in-law took the little sister to school. Shenghua, where I study, is the top private school. It's just across the road from #1 municipal high school where Yazixi studies. We two decided to take the bus to school together. The bus stop isn't far from the community. There were still a lot of empty seats when we got on the bus. Yazixi swiped the card twice for the fare and guided me to the empty seats at the back to sit down. I stared at the bus card on her backpack zipper. This is my first time taking a bus in my life, and also my first time seeing this kind of bus card. It looks pretty convenient. Where did you get your bus card? I want to get one too to hang on my bag. Yazixi went silent for a few seconds. She took off the bus card and handed it to me. You have to go to the Civic Service Center to get one. You can take mine to use first. Then how do you take the bus every day? You can pay for the bus by scanning a code on your phone now. Yazixi smiled super gently. She could tell I was really curious about this card. She just took it off and gave it to me to play with. I hung it on my backpack casually. More and more people got on the bus, one after another. At this hour, besides students and office workers, there are also loads of elders hitting the morning market to snap up eggs. The carriage gets super crowded with so many people. The air in the carriage doesn't circulate well in summer heat. It gives off a nasty sour sweat smell. Mushen used to hate this smell so much. He hated squeezing onto a crowded bus more than anything. Yazixi glanced at her pale-skinned younger brother beside her. I sat quietly leaning against the bus window. The breeze outside brushed against my sideburns. My bright eyes stared out the window curiously. Yazixi thought her overly mature little brother actually had a really cute side to him. Bus drivers always drive super aggressively. To make sure students don't get late for school, It only took 40 minutes to get to the school stop. The stop is right at the gate of City No. 1 High School. Yazixi insisted on walking me to the school gate herself. We had plenty of time, so we walked over slowly. Lots of luxury cars zoomed past us on the way. Sometimes people rolled down their windows and yelled greetings at us. Yazixi immediately figured it out. It seemed her little brother got along really well with people at school. She'd been worried that after people found out his identity, they'd gang up to push him out and make him feel wronged. We reached the grand gate of Shenghua High School. Yazixi felt awkward walking further in. "I'll come pick you up after school this afternoon." Noticing Yazixi looked a little stiff, I nodded with a smile and agreed. A tall figure came running over at top speed. I swayed a little when he pulled me into a warm hug. Lin Jiajun gripped my shoulders tightly in the hug, but his eyes were fixed on my second older sister next to me. I couldn't help coughing softly to remind him. Lin Jiajun froze for a second before he realized what was going on. He recognized that this was the second daughter of the Ye family. He immediately stood up straight and straightened his clothes. "I'm Mu Chen's classmate. Lin Jiajun is also his current personal bodyguard." I tilted my head confusedly and asked, "When did you become a bodyguard?" Lin Jiajun leaned close to my ear and whispered, "Miss Liu specifically ordered this. She's worried people will bully you. Now everyone knows you're not the real young master of the Mu family." After saying that, he stood up straight again. He slung an arm around my shoulders and grinned at Yazixi as he promised. "Don't worry at all, second sister. I'm a Taekwondo black belt, you know. No one dares lay a finger on Mu Chen." Yazixi looked at the cheerful, sunny boy in front of her and gave a warm, gentle smile. "Thank you so much for taking care of Mu Chen." Lin Jiajun felt like flowers were blooming all around him right then. He quickly waved his hands, his face turning bright red. "You should head back to your school for class now, second sister." He watched Yazixi's back as she walked far away. Lin Jiajun was still being a total lovesick fool. "Does your second sister have a boyfriend? Would you mind me being your second brother-in-law?" I sighed helplessly. "Have you forgotten you already have a fiancé? Do you want my second sister to be the other woman?" Hearing that, Lin Jiajun let out a dramatic wail to the sky. I glanced at the fancy watch on my wrist. "The bell will ring in 15 minutes. I don't want to be late because of you." I sped up and walked towards the classroom. Lin Jiajun hurried to catch up with me. "I heard the Ye family went bankrupt and owes a lot of debt. You moved into a shabby old apartment building now, right? Can you even get used to living in a place like that? Why don't I give you that small villa I have? I'll even throw in a full-time driver and nanny. If I really wanted to move, you wouldn't be the first one to get to show off." Lin Jiajun got annoyed immediately when he heard that Miss Liu can give you stuff. "So why can't I? I'm your sworn brother for life, you know." He linked arms with me and clung to me tightly. I felt helpless but also amused. When did these people get obsessed with poverty relief? They keep offering luxury cars and villas out of nowhere, and even throw in drivers and nannies too. They act like I'm super miserable now that I left the Mu family. We chatted as we walked to the classroom door. We just stepped into the classroom. When the previously noisy classroom went completely silent, everyone had a shocked, blank look on their face. As they stared straight at me, did my face get disfigured or something? "Why do all of you look like you've seen a ghost?" Hearing my familiar teasing, everyone breathed a sigh of relief and burst out laughing. "Which plastic surgery clinic would dare touch your face? So that rumor isn't real, right? Looks like all of you already know about it." I walked to my seat calmly and sat down. When Shen Mingzi saw me, he quickly moved his chair, leaned over and whispered, "Any little news spreads like wildfire in our circle. I have an empty apartment under my name. It's definitely better than where you're staying now, right? You can crash there for now if you want." Before I could even say no, Lin Jiajun smacked him hard. "He didn't even accept my villa, dumbass." Shen Mingzi curled his lip. He knew he couldn't win against this super aggressive guy. A group of people were chatting and joking noisily. They didn't even notice when their head teacher Zhou Shuimei walked in. "What state secrets are you all chatting about that you're so hyped up? Your class is the loudest one on the whole floor." Seeing that the teacher looked displeased, everyone quickly went back to their seats and sat down properly, not daring to make a single sound. Shenghua is a top-tier private elite school. All the students are from wealthy and influential families, but they're not that different from regular students. They're equally afraid of strict teachers, and equally scared of getting demerits. People outside think elite school students just slack off all day, and only care about showing off wealth and competing with each other all day. But the truth is, their schoolwork is way heavier. Besides the regular college entrance exam subjects, they also have to learn things like economic management and equestrianism. The founder of Shenghua is a top-tier powerful figure who has extremely strict rules for students' conduct. Any student who is disrespectful to teachers will face very severe punishment. Not only will the student themselves be punished, even their family's businesses will be affected. I'll let you off the hook since it's the first day of school. All of you better smarten up for this final year. Don't go looking for trouble. Got it. The whole class yelled in unison that they got it. We have a new transfer student joining our class this semester. Student Mu Xuan. Let's give him a warm welcome. Everyone's expressions immediately turned weird, and all looked over at the podium at the same time. Lin Jejun winked at me. I just smiled casually, looking like I was ready to watch the show, unreadable to others. After a few days of intensive etiquette training, Mu Xuan finally started acting like a proper young master. He put on what he thought was a perfect smile, and introduced himself slowly and calmly. I'm Mu Xuan. I was switched at birth by accident when I was little, and I've finally been reunited with my biological parents now. I hope I can get along well with everyone in the coming year. Mu Xuan was wearing a full set of custom-made casual suits, putting on a gentle and refined demeanor. If this were the #1 high school he used to go to, he might be popular as the young master of the Mu family. Too bad this is Shenghua, where talents are hidden everywhere. His little petty schemes are nothing here. As soon as he finished speaking, the whole class fell dead silent. That pretentious look of his annoyed Shen Mingxi so much. He casually made a sarcastic remark. The real young master of the Mu family is really something else. He just returned to the Mu family after recognizing his ancestors, and already kicked Mu Chen out of the house. Hearing this, Mu Xuan flinched visibly, and automatically switched to his wronged, innocent White Lotus persona. He lowered his eyes, looking like he'd been struggling for a long time. I thought after my foster parents raised him for 17 years, he wouldn't want to leave mom and dad. I didn't expect he asked dad for 3 million yuan and left straight away without looking back. I really don't understand. How can my brother be so heartless? How can you be so heartless? A loud roar echoed through the quiet classroom. Mu Xuan turned around in panic to look and saw Lin Jiajun, whose eyes were full of rage, and me sitting next to him, smiling calmly. Head teacher Zhou Xuemei frowned unhappily and stared at Lin Jejun, who had slammed the table and stood up. Sit down properly right now. Mu Xuan suppressed the slight upward curl of his lips. He twisted the corner of his clothes, looking like he'd suffered a huge wrong. My foster parents' family is very poor financially. The life gap is too big for my brother. It's normal for him to resent me. Zhou Xuemei didn't speak up to defend Mu Xuan. This is a school with strict discipline. It's her responsibility to regulate students' words and actions. Shenghua students will definitely become industry leaders in the future. The teachers here are definitely not ordinary people. Mu Xuan's cheap tricks were seen through by Zhou Xuemei at a glance. She just didn't bother to expose him in public. Let me give you a warning. Shenghua is not a place for you to mess around. Also, remember to wear your school uniform to class tomorrow. Quiet mocking laughs immediately came from below the stage. Musen nodded awkwardly and quickly walked off the podium to find an empty seat. The classroom fell into a commotion. Everyone was chattering and gossiping. Mu Xuan looked around beside him. All the students were talking about business circle investments, but he couldn't understand any of it and felt completely out of place. Finally, he looked towards the middle of the crowd. What's that hanging on his bag? The former young master has fallen on hard times. He even has to take the bus to school now. The tuition waiver scholarship he got from the school before. It seems a bit useful now after all. I wouldn't have thought of that if you didn't mention it. The scholarship and the financial aid quota. We've already arranged both for Brother Chen. I felt helpless and amused after hearing this, and was just about to stand up and walk over. Mu Xuan spoke up to accuse them with a self-righteous look. You guys are going too far. Everyone looked at Mu Xuan in confusion. I'm already very familiar with them. I'm usually a pretty easygoing person. We're just messing around like usual. It's not like Mu Xuan needs to make a big deal out of it. Lin Jiajun thinks Mu Xuan is out of his mind. He doesn't even want to talk to the real young master. I know your birth family is poor. You're used to living like a rich young master. You definitely can't stand moving back to the Ye family. I can go beg mom and dad to cut you some slack, and you need to suck it up and apologize properly. They'll definitely let you come back. Mu Xuan acts like he's doing this all for my own good. Most people think he's innocent and kind, and that I, the fake young master, don't know what's good for me. But the whole place suddenly went dead quiet. Everyone just stood there watching the show, staring at Muxuan without saying a word, like they just saw some weird alien creature. After a long silence, Lin Jiajin turned to look at me. He suddenly asked in confusion, "Doesn't he feel embarrassed at all?" I'm embarrassed for him. Everyone burst out laughing when they heard that. That line really was super awkward. I'm doing this for you, I really mean it. The Ye family went bankrupt. They can't give you a good life. Mom and Dad are actually really nice people. They're just mad right now. They're upset you don't care about the old times and just took the money and left. Go apologize to Mom and Dad. They'll definitely let you come back to the Mu family. I let out a dry laugh when I heard that I lived in the Mu family for 17 whole years. I know the Mu couple way better than Mu Xuan does. They don't even care that much about their own biological son, let alone me, just an adopted kid. Su Manyu is going to design my room. Why have I never heard of that? I curled my lip in a knowing smile. Mu Xuan lowered his eyes and smiled shyly. I told them they don't have to do that. But they said they've treated me poorly for too long, so they have to make it up to me properly. They insisted on hiring the best designer to redo the room. They said it has to be exactly how I like it. I put my phone on the table and turned on speakerphone. You're really good at hiding stuff, huh? An angry roar came from the phone. That's all total bullshit. When did I ever agree to do that design? This is Mu Xuan, right? I told him to get lost when he called yesterday. Does he not understand words? Or is he just stupid? He even said he's the young master of the Mu family. Said he'd pay me to shut up and do the work. Said the Mu family is too powerful for me to mess with. Who wants his lousy stinking money? I don't care if it's the Mu family or the Hai family. No matter what his status is, he dares to order me around, spreading rumors and ruining my reputation. Can he even pay for that kind of damage? The voice on the phone was full of sarcasm and anger. Lin Jejun immediately hung up the call. He raised an eyebrow at me like he just did me a huge favor. I smiled and gave him a thumbs up. Everyone there was super sharp and savvy. All these peers from the same social circle know exactly what each other are thinking. Everyone comes to Shenghua not just to study, but also to build high-quality connections. These are the people you'll be doing business with later on. Building good relationships with valuable people helps a lot when you take over the family business later. Whether someone is the real deal or a fake doesn't matter to them at all. What matters is whether that person has value. Anyone who's at the top of the grade is definitely going to be a big shot later. This is the perfect chance for them to build connections. I might not have the Mu last name right now, but if Mu Xuan loses the Mu family's support, he's literally nothing. No one had anything against Mu Xuan at first. They even would have been nice to him because of the Mu family's power. Too bad he's way too impatient. He even dared to come provoke me first. We stayed silent because we didn't bother calling him out. Didn't want to waste time on a useless person, but Mu Xuan just keeps coming back over and over. Then no one can blame them for being ruthless. The atmosphere got really heavy and awkward. Mu Xuan's face turned pale with anger instantly. The corners of his eyes turned red like he was wronged. He looked totally lost and super pathetic. Some people were willing to stand up for me. Of course, there were also people who hated my guts. Lin Zian stood up like he was defending the underdog. You guys are going way too far. Is it fun making a fool of someone like this? Mu Xuan was just worried about you. The Ye family went bankrupt now. He just wanted to help you out. Do you have to bully him like this? Everyone looked over at him in total disbelief. They all knew exactly what Lin Zian was up to. Lin Zian looked angry on the surface, but he was actually over the moon inside. After all, I've always outperformed him at everything. Now that the Ye family suddenly went bankrupt, he can finally be better than me for once. So he started putting on this fake act. And he can also get on the good side of the Mu family's real young master. That's literally killing two birds with one stone. Mu Xuan looked up in surprise, trying hard to hide the embarrassment on his face. He gave Lin Zian a grateful look. Lin Zian smiled back at him softly. A touch of concern crossed his eyes right on cue, like he really treats Mu Xuan as a friend. Just then, there was a sudden knock on the classroom door. Everyone looked over at the same time. Liu Ruyan was standing outside the door holding documents. Why is it so lively in here? Even with Lin Zian standing there looking awkward, Liu Ruyan didn't even spare him a glance. She walked straight towards me with big steps. I'm just here to deliver something to the young master. Even though she said that, Lin Zian didn't dare to talk back at all. Even the future family heirs in this class, but this Liu Ruyan in front of everyone. is already on equal footing with their parents' generation. Mushan sized up the visitor secretly. The girl was wearing simple and clean clothes. She had fair skin, with a stunningly beautiful face. Her whole vibe was extremely elegant and refined. She wore a deep red Bodhi bead bracelet on her wrist. When she walked past him, he caught a whiff of faint citrus scent. Mushan was totally shocked. The Ye family's heiress used to be famous for her looks, but after seeing this girl in front of him, he thought Yazixi was no match for her at all. But she's dressed so simply. She must be just an errand runner at most. Mushan had no idea at all. The clothes Liu Ruyan was wearing alone, plus her other low-key accessories, especially that Bodhi bead bracelet, is worth a whole villa in Binhai, Shen Mingxi teased. What's so important that Sis Liu has to deliver it herself? Liu Ruyan's eyes fell directly on me, making no effort to hide the favoritism in her eyes. I'm the young master's exclusive gopher, okay? Even if it's just a leaf, I have to deliver it personally. Everyone burst into laughter and started teasing. Liu Ruyan and I didn't act awkward at all. We were still completely open and honest. The whole class knows what's going on between us. Childhood sweethearts. Grew up together with no secrets. We both know how each other feels. There's nothing to hide on purpose. We haven't officially started dating yet. It's just not the right time yet. We want to focus more on our careers first. Liu Ruyan put the documents on my desk. Immediately, everyone gathered around in amazement. Everyone crowded over to join the fun. This project proposal is so well done. When Brother Chen takes action, it's always amazing, no surprise. Looks like this year's spot is definitely yours. My proposal scored way higher than the others. I smiled and said nothing. My casual attitude made it look like I already had the win in the bag. Mushan glanced over from the side. He recognized that Ye Jiayi helped make this. This is made by Sister Ye Jia, right? It's just some half-assed work a kid threw together, and you're using it as key project materials. That's so disrespectful to other competitors. Shen Mingxi gave him a speechless glance. That's a super rude thing to say. This is the top-ranked proposal in the evaluation, and you call this half-assed work. Mu Xuan was instantly speechless. I curled my lips and said, my sister put a lot of effort into this. She prepared this specially for me. How can your empty, boring theories compare to this? My tone had a hint of defensiveness. Everyone complained that I was being biased to protect my own. Sis Liu, do something to control him. Liu Ruyan put both hands in her pants pockets, leaned slightly over my desk. The young master is always the one who tells me what to do. I don't have the right to order him around. I couldn't help chuckling when I heard that. My finger hooked onto Liu Ruyan's bracelet. Mushan walked up unwillingly. You're not a student at this school, are you? I get that you're working to make money. Liu Ruyan squinted her eyes in confusion. I knew Mushan was a little slow in the head, but I didn't know he was this clueless. Everyone went quiet for a second. Someone actually called Liu Ruyan an errand runner. That's probably the most ridiculous joke of the year. Lin Jejun was laughing so hard he couldn't stand up straight. You think Sis Liu is just an errand runner? How do you even think you can compare to Brother Chen? I also curled my lips speechlessly. I take back what I thought earlier about Mu Xuan being smart. This guy is really way too naive. Naive to the point of being stupid. He actually thought that someone who jokes around with rich kids, and is called Sis Liu by everyone, would be some ordinary person. Liu Ruyan looked down at my hand. Su Manyu asked me to pass you a message. The design drawings and furniture are all ready. She asked if it's convenient for you to start construction tomorrow. I lowered my voice a little. I'll text her back later. I suddenly looked up and met the girl's deep eyes. You finished handling all the merger cases. You're going to catch your flight this week, right? I let go of her hand immediately. Poked her arm lightly. Then go get busy, okay? Don't miss your flight. I'll bring you souvenirs when I come back. Liu Ruyan gently flicked my chin playfully. They kept their voices really low when talking. It was like an invisible barrier popped up around them. Everyone else stayed away on purpose to not disturb them. They just stood quietly off to the side munching on candy. Lin Jiajun rested his cheek on his hand. A question mark practically popped up over Shen Mingxi's head. Is it really okay for you two to act like no one else is here? The school gate is busiest right after classes end. Lots of street food vendors start setting up shop here. Even though everyone at Shenghua is from rich families, kids their age still can't resist street food. Among all the people coming and going, Ye Zixi stood out with her gentle, elegant vibe. She looked just like a noble lady from ancient times. There was a faint hint of sadness in her eyes. I swear, if Zixi acted in a period drama, she'd have every guy crushing on her for sure. Just look at Lin Jejun, that's proof enough. The second he saw Yazixi, he couldn't even bring himself to blink. Two voices spoke at the exact same time. I looked over towards where the voices came from and saw Mushuan grinning from ear to ear, running over to Yazixi at a jog. Seeing Mushuan's bright smile, Yazixi's feelings got all tangled up right away. She remembered picking Mushuan up from school back then. He'd run over to her just as excitedly too. She used to dote on this little brother so much. Right when the Ye family went bankrupt, nothing had changed yet. They took the bus home together every day. Sometimes they'd even walk home when they felt like it. Halfway through the walk, Mushuan would always beg her to carry him piggyback. Zixi would happily carry her little brother all the way home. Musen would lie on her back. My sister is the best sister in the whole world. I'm the luckiest kid alive. All that sweetness fell apart in an instant. Mushuan's smile was gone before anyone knew it, replaced by a twisted, disgusted look on his face. I don't want to take the crowded bus anymore. I'm so sick of this. Carry me home. Why are you so useless? You can't even walk a few steps. Can't you just buy a bike? If you don't have money, go get a part-time job. In the end, he abandoned the sister he used to love most. The sister he once called the best in the world. Yazixi swallowed hard. She had no idea how to act around Mushuan now. Mushuan didn't notice she was acting off. He was still smiling all sweetly. I miss it so much. The days when you walked me to and from school, it sucks that I transferred to Shenghua. None of my classmates seem to like me. They only hang out with Mushuan. As he spoke, Mushuan's smile faded little by little. His eyes started to get red and teary, like I was the one leading the group to bully him. And he was all hurt about it. Yazixi caught exactly what he was implying. Thinking about how we'd gotten along these past few days, she almost blurted out a retort right away. Mushuan isn't like that. He'd never be that petty. Even though I grew up in a rich family for 17 years, I'm actually super easygoing and generous. I never complained that the Ye family's house was too small, or that the bed was too hard. I always told Momya her cooking was amazing. I bought candy for the little sister all the time. I always paid attention to what the family needed and helped out however I could. I was being the best possible version of myself. So good that it made him feel guilty. As his older sister, I can't do much for him. If anything, he's always the one worrying me. Mushuan's face went stiff immediately. He thought even if I left the Mu family all cool and collected, the second I saw that shabby Ye family house, I'd throw all my rich kid tantrums for sure. But Yazixi actually had a really good impression of me. It felt like in just 2 or 3 days, she'd already forgotten the brother she'd lived with for 17 years, and accepted me instead. After hearing Yazixi stand up for me, Mushuan froze on the spot. The corner of my mouth twitched up in a smile. Since when does young Master Mu go around claiming random people as his sister? My bright peach blossom eyes softened a little, but there was still a dangerous, sharp edge to them. You just like stealing other people's older sisters, that's all. All the gloom Yazixi was feeling vanished instantly. A soft, warm smile spread across her face. She didn't even spare Mushuan a single glance after that. My eyes flickered slightly. A soft smile slowly tugged at the corner of my lips, watching the two of us siblings walk away. Fierce jealousy flared up in Mushuan's eyes, watching us chat and laugh as we walked off. All of this was supposed to be his in the first place. Mushuan was gnashing his teeth in anger. He clenched his fists so tight. His nails dug into his palms, but he didn't even feel it. His breathing started getting faster and shallower. Until we were completely out of sight, Mushuan finally snapped out of it. Everything he ever wanted. He already has all of it now. He gets to enjoy all the wealth and luxury of the Mu family. They're just a bunch of poor losers anyway. He's the real young master of the Mu family after all. Glancing at the lavish Mu family villa, all the resentment in Mushuan's heart vanished right away. He let out a smug laugh. Mushuan ordered Aunt Sun arrogantly, "What are you standing there for? Hurry up and make me some tea." Aunt Sun bowed slightly. Ever since this young master came back, whenever Mr. and Mrs. Mu are not at home, all the servants wait on him super carefully, not even daring to breathe too loudly. If there's even the tiniest thing that displeases him, they're bound to get a harsh scolding. If the tea doesn't taste good, he makes them redo it. If the food isn't to his liking, he makes the chef cook again. But Mushuan never lost his temper like this before. At the very least, he respected them as living people. The current young master, Mushuan, throws cups and plates at the drop of a hat, like they aren't even servants at all, but just slaves he can order around however he wants. Mushuan's malicious voice rang out again. Aunt Sun pulled herself out of her thoughts and hurried over with the tea. Mushuan picked up the teacup and took a sip. The next second, he slammed the teacup at Aunt Sun. Aunt Sun subconsciously stepped back half a step, but still couldn't dodge in time. All the scalding hot tea spilled on the top of her foot. Aunt Sun kept her head lowered and quietly rubbed her reddened, scalded hand. She immediately squatted down to pick up the teacup. "I'll go make another cup of tea." The housekeeper saw every single thing that just happened. The housekeeper pushed up his glasses on his nose and stepped forward gracefully and spoke in a soft voice. "Young master, it's time for your etiquette class." Mushen glared at him angrily. "What etiquette class?" The housekeeper's expression didn't change at all. "The family recognition banquet is on the weekend. Mr. and Mrs. Mu specifically told you to be there on time and not to mess up anything at the banquet." Mushen stood up abruptly. "What do you mean by that?" "Know your own place, will you? You're just a paid servant of the Mu family. How dare you order me around here?" That etiquette teacher always carries a ruler and keeps a straight face. If you do even one thing wrong, they'll scold you harshly. They don't care about his status at all. The reason he's so arrogant is obviously because he has Mr. and Mrs. Mu Yaoi backing him up. The housekeeper nodded slightly, neither humble nor pushy. "The two young ladies will be back for the recognition banquet." Mu Xuan was stunned for a second. He heard the two Mu sisters have really bad tempers. Either way, this is the first time he's meeting his own biological sisters. He really should put on a good show. Once he wins over the two sisters, he'll be the real biological son of the Mu family. Let's see who dares to look down on him then. Mu Xuan forcefully suppressed the anger in his heart and resigned himself to going to the etiquette class. Unlike the cold, tense atmosphere at the Mu family, the small Ye family home is full of warmth. The whole family is huddled together happily and even put food on each other's plates from time to time. Everyone was passing the two chicken drumsticks back and forth. Kids get the drumsticks. Adults get the wingtips. The ones in the middle get the mid-joint wings. Mother Ye smiled and put a mid-joint wing into Yezixi's bowl. Yejai and I get one drumstick each. Yezixi seemed to be in a better mood than usual. Maybe it's because she met Mu Xuan again and finally felt fully relieved about it. I looked at the drumstick in my bowl and felt a rare sense of warmth in my heart. The Mu family is super strict about table manners. The seats are far apart from each other. You're absolutely not allowed to talk while eating, and you can't make even the smallest sound. Putting food on each other's plates is even forbidden. Not to mention Mr. and Mrs. Mu Yaoi are often not at home. The two sisters were also sent abroad for further studies. I was often left alone to eat by myself. The Ye family is completely different, though. Family members share all the good stuff with each other. They chat and laugh the whole time. Even though they're crammed into a small apartment of only a few dozen square meters, the atmosphere is still warm and happy. It's full of the vibe of real life everywhere. Maybe this is what a real home is supposed to be like. Mother Ye rubbed her hands awkwardly. She looked a little embarrassed. You guys all have to go to school on normal days, and their dad also works as a ride-hailing driver. I want to set up a stall to do some small business, to help lighten the financial burden on the family a little. I plan to stock up on goods and sell them near the primary school. I don't have much experience with this, so I don't know if I can run the stall well. Before she got married, she was the pampered daughter of her family. She only occasionally helped with simple housework and didn't have to worry about anything else. When she married Father Ye's business was already doing pretty well, so she stayed home as a stay-at-home wife without any worries. She never went out to work and earn money before. After the Ye family went bankrupt, she also wanted to go out and find a proper job. But Mu Xuan complained that no one would do the housework and told her to stay home as a full-time housewife. Actually, being a housewife isn't easy at all. Every day is full of tedious physical chores. Once you finish all that, the day is almost over. You barely get any free time at all. Seeing her family running around working hard every day, she agreed to stay home and take care of the logistics. Now that Mu Chen is back, everyone is full of motivation and wants to give it another shot. She also wants to pitch in and do her part. Yazixi immediately expressed her full support. You stay cooped up at home doing housework all day. You don't even have anyone to chat with. Setting up a street stall outside is a great idea. You can do something more meaningful. No matter whether you make money or not, just treat it as going out to relax and unwind. Father Ye put down the chopsticks in his hand. He held his wife's hand tightly. You've worked so hard all these years. For our family, you've never gotten to do anything you love. Everyone wants to realize their self-worth. If you want to set up a stall, just go for it. She got the full support of the whole family.